Hey everyone, welcome to Mark and Maine. Today is going to be vacuum cleaner maintenance day. What I will be doing in future videos is things I do around the house that you may find helpful. I may talk sometimes about life with Sherlock and Patty, the two adoptees from Friends of Feral Felines. Hope you enjoy the videos to follow. I hope you find some of the things I do useful, and as always, your comments are appreciated, and I would like to see your videos as well. Alright, so I'm going to introduce you to Sherlock. Alright, and this is Patty. These guys will be my quality control experts. Alright, so what I have is your basic upright Bissell vacuum cleaner. There's two components here. There is a switch on the bottom, so what I'm going to be doing today is not only dumping this section out here, but you always want to check to make sure that this is cleaned out as well, because you don't want that getting clogged. I'm just going to set that down for the moment. Now in the bottom section, what you can see here, there's a filter surrounded by a sponge-like filter. What I'm going to be doing with these two is, if you don't have a compost pile like I do, I can dump all this stuff out there. So I am going to get rid of this, and then we'll be back for the washing up part. Here are the components that I have removed. This is the main collection unit. This is going to be the primary issue right here. So I'm going to save this one for a minute. Now this one here doesn't really have to be washed, but I just have it for me. All I'm going to do is just rinse it out. I'm just using cold water, no soap. And this I'm just going to set aside so it'll dry on its own. And this is what helps create the wind tunnel effects, cyclone effects. And what I'm just making sure is that these grooves don't have anything blocking them. This usually does not really get plugged, but since I have it out, I don't see why I'm not going to clean it out. Now on this part here, the reason I recommend taking this outside, there's going to be a lot of stuff collected. And in between the edge here, which you see the space now, when I took this outside, that was just plugged full of pet hair. So in taking this outside, it creates just a really... Yeah, that was my assistant, ever so helpful, so we're going to fix that again. So I recommend taking this out because when you bang this around outside, you're going to have a ton of dust and residue coming off of that, and it's going to go all over the place. I would not recommend doing this in the house at all. So, just going to rinse this out here. Again, it doesn't really need to be done. Really, I'm just doing this on a matter of principle. Now, ideally, if you have an air compressor, after removing these two outer sections, you could do this intersection to clear that here. So what I'm just going to do here is tap this out just to get the excess off of that. There's a sufficient amount coming out of there that tapping it will definitely help break up some of the excess. So again, like I said, ideally if you've got an air compressor, I would really recommend taking that and just spraying that out just to keep that clear, which is what I will do on this piece here. Now for these, you don't have to really be too careful. They're pretty durable. The last thing you want to do is having them rip so that you can't slide them back on. And you can see the dirt that this has collected, the pre-filter. And it is actually quite a bit. What I like about this feature is that instead of this going all back into the house, this will do a pretty good job collecting it. You can actually get, if you have bagged vacuum cleaners, you can get hyperallergenic bags that will keep the dust from coming back into the house. I have nothing against bag vacuum cleaners. I actually own one. This one for me is just a little bit more convenient. So I've gotten all the dust out of the inner filter, so we're going to set this aside to dry naturally. And this is the outer filter, and again you can see all the dirt coming off of that. So this one's a little bit more coarse. This will pick up the initial outer layer of dust to keep it going through, and of course what passes through this one, that second layer you saw, is finer. Catch the smaller particles and ultimately down to this one. Alright, so this is the final inner filter to my Bissell upright. And if you do not have an air compressor, a can of air will work pretty well. So I just want to show you this right here. Where I have the compressor, I like that because it's a little bit quicker. I would recommend doing this definitely not in the house. So as you can see, there's actually quite a bit of dust that you can still see kind of flowing around here. So if you're someone who is allergic to dust, I certainly would recommend wearing a face mask. So I took care of that on the inside and outside. Again, this is something you really shouldn't have to do very often, but my personal opinion, if you're going to be going this route of cleaning it, get yourself a can of air maybe at least once a year. Of course, you can always check the manufacturer to see what they recommend. And just make sure everything's clean out, because the more this is clogged up, of course, the less performance you're going to get out of your vacuum cleaner, the less cleaner your house is going to be, the more frustrated you get. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video.